Hey guys, new video here, farming Cyrus really fast. So I started stream, just got done with like about a 15-hour stream, and we were farming Cyrus the whole time. I started the most stream, probably like 70 to 80% of it, where I was doing a hybrid farm strategy where I would try to proc the colors on my Atlas, right? So as you know, when you go into a map, you kill a few packs, a nova will spew out, and you will get a color in any region, right? So what I was doing was I was like juicing my maps. I was using sextants, and then I would run it until like my tier 14 to 16 maps until I got a color to spawn, right? So boom, it'd like spawn here, 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 or I might do like the corners. And once all four were spawned, I would use the white map method, which is basically, it doesn't have to be white maps, it's anything below like tier 16s. I would use that method to very quickly try to spawn a conqueror. And going through it, I was like, man, I was kind of annoyed, right? Because like when you have an awakening level 8 bonus, I've always said that like, you should probably just like spam your awakening level 8 bonus maps like 14 to 16 and just naturally proc conquerors and use your juice, because after the patch you can now sextant through conqueror influence. So you have prophecies, sextants, and the conqueror spawning with hundreds of monsters, right? Today, I was like, let's just try it, right? The prices are going to do nothing but fall further for like the items that Cyrus drops, because if you don't know, in the previous patch yesterday, what they did is they nerfed Cyrus. So for the vast majority of builds, it is a lot easier. There's no store management. It's faster to proc them. The 100 health to 25 health phase is pretty much the same thing. It's a lot easier. And then all the way down from Awakening 8 to all the way down to Awakening 0, they nerfed the damage as well. So before, like Awakening 0 to 8 was just 24% more health, same damage, same mechanics. But now, if you go down in levels, a lot less damage, and the fight is easier once again. So because of this, we know that awakened gems drop at anything below from 0 to 8, right? And then maybe the sword only drops 8, but I'm not sure about that. We don't know about like awakened multi-strike and the really expensive gems, but we know that awakened level 8 is the guaranteed unique drop, and then like higher chance of the good stuff pretty much. So I was a big proponent of running the regular maps. Okay, on the side of the screens here you will see my first run. I did 4 speed runs. My first run took 37 minutes. My second run took 35 minutes from a fully cleared board to killing Cyrus. Okay, 37 minutes, 35 minutes. My third one was 32 minutes, and my last run that you'll see, one of these here, was 26 minutes. So from completely killing a Cyrus to spawning him again and killing him again, right, back to back, was 26 minutes. And it seemed pretty doable, because in that run I felt really unlucky at the beginning with the spawn. So I want to talk about that and like, is it worth it, my results from it, okay, and my data from the last stream. So in the last stream I put most of some stuff I started dumping here because I ran out of tabs, but here's my Cyrus test tabs. We're filled with 6 sockets, the usual currencies. If you type that stuff in here, I've taken out like the good stuff. And so we have like, you got maps, currencies, all these like all this random stuff, right? Decent amount of loot, right? Gift cards, all that stuff, organs. So in today we dropped 2 Legion swords, and it's hilarious because from the first sword drop to the last sword drop, it fell in price by like 3 exalts. So like these are the sales of like the first sword. I like removed the C value because it was like a few C, but it was the first sword I sold for like 15 point something exalts. The second sword that drops I had to sell for 12 point something exalts. Okay, and these are the exalt from the sales. And so in the course of like probably like 10-12 hours, it dropped by 3 exalts. What this means is like after the nerfs, more people are willing to try Cyrus. There's gonna be more people like procking him, doing the speed farming runs. So the price on all the items that he drops pretty much are gonna probably go down. Maybe not the crafting mats and stuff like that, but gloves right now are I think like 50 to 60 C. So let's talk about the returns first, and then we'll talk about the actual method. So 27 exalts basically from the swords, almost 2 ancient orbs, which is almost an exalt. These are pure exalt drops from the day. 3 pure exalt drops from the maps. We got a awakened Ellie damage, which is about 260 C, and then this is awakened void manipulation. These I actually believe both drop from, well, one drop from Awakener, one drop from a conqueror on the way to kill Awakener. Let's say that's another 3 exalts right there. And then we have, wait, what's this? Oh, okay. And then we have 6 exalts from Hunter's Exalted Orb drops. We got 2 Hunter's Exalted Orbs from procking. Overall, I think we procced 11 Cyruses in about 15 hours. And then, so this is the Hunter's Orb sales. So let's just put that in here. We can consolidate this now. And then we have a Redeemer's, which I think is 100 and something C. And then a Crusader's Exalt, which is, I think, also over 100 C, right? This is like 100 and, let's just say 180. And then the Redeemers, I'm gonna do a quick price check here, 170. So 180 plus 170 is about 350, right? So let's just say it's like 3 exalts as well. So if I sell these, right, because my dump tabs weren't priced, so I didn't sell them yet, that's another 3 exalts. So just from doing the Conquer and the Awakener kills, let's just like actually put back the Ancient Orb because that doesn't really matter. So just from killing the Cyrus and the Conquers leading up to him, there's always 4 Conquers leading up to him. We made 36 plus, let's say like 3, so that's 39 plus like 3, about 42 pure exalts on the day. That's pretty good, right? That is actually pretty good. And of course, the 2 swords were very lucky, right? In my speed runs, I didn't actually get the sword, right? Like my 37, 35, 32, and 26-minute speed run of getting the stars, I didn't get the sword in there. I didn't really get anything notable in there. So it is, of course, RNG, but on average, if you take a look at these dump tabs, if I were to excellence these dump tabs, I haven't yet because I haven't taken out the things I would never sell and clean it up a little bit. There's probably a few more exalts of value, maybe like probably like 10 exalts of value that if I actually sold stuff in here. So that's pretty good. And so looking back on it, did I have a lot of fun? And yes, I did. Do I think it was worth it now looking back at the speed run? I think so as well. So that is like really, really good returns, right? If you got a little bit, like if you remove the swords, if you remove 27 exalts from here, then it's kind of like, well, then it's maybe like a couple exalts an hour, which when you're doing the super juiced Awakening level 8 red maps, you will make more, right? We know this data from before, from previous leagues, and this league is even juicier. So I would say still, right, looking at the current data and accounting for the RNG and stuff like that, I would say it is still better overall to run your AL8, which is Awakening level 8 maps, right? Red maps in the zones with full sextants, full prophecies, scarabs if you want, and then just going with that and just naturally spawning the Conquerors and the Cyrus, right? Just by doing the red maps naturally, not doing any weird stuff, which we'll talk about later. Okay, that is, I believe, still the best course of exalts value per hour. With that said, it is very fun to jamble this way. Okay, it is extremely fun, and it is more fun than I thought it'd be because like the speedrunning aspect, you're gonna see on both sides of the screen here. Once again, both sides of the screen, I'll have like the speedrun stuff up so that you can look through it if that interests you and see how it's kind of done. I'll explain how it's done in a second. It is super fun because, getting to the Conquer fight, Awaken thing could drop, right? The Exalted Orb of the Conqueror could drop. Get to Cyrus, 12 exalts right now. Tomorrow's probably going to be an 8 exalt sword, who knows? At the current time, the longer this goes on, the less value you'll get from the sword and like probably Awaken gems, okay? Over time. So it's going to be less and less worth it to just do the speed farming method over time. Okay? With that said, let's see how it's done. So the speedrunning method is as such, okay? To proc the influence, right, you need to run the natural maps, meaning that if I have Awakener 8, which is what we're going for, Awakener 8 Conquerors are very good, you need to run, let's say, a tier 14 Hungle follow map right here. For example, if I take this out, right, if I take out this thing, you see how this beach is tier 10? You see that when I take out a thing for Awakener 7? I can't run a tier 10 beach to proc the initial spawn of a Conqueror influence, okay? So it has to be a natural. Leave your watch zones in, you can sextant, it doesn't matter. You cannot spawn the first color, the tile, without the natural. And by natural, I mean the maps and the tier of these maps that you see when you mouse over, okay? So for example, Arid Lake 14, you would have to run, if you're going to run a scriptorium, you have to run a scriptorium 14. If you want to run a park, it has to be a tier 15. You want to run a summit, tier 16, okay? With that out of the way, the speedrun strat is that you will run red maps, okay, of the natural tier until you get 4 tiles to spawn, and then you can focus fire down those tiles with any other map. It does not have to be the natural tier. So then, let's say that I spawned the green tile in Glenach Cairns. After the color has appeared, you can run any map in here. I'll show you what I mean. Glenach Cairns is, let me go to my maps. Okay, I'm going to type in Cairns. You get a search here. See this? You see this white here, the white maps here? I can run a white race course. I can run a yellow lava chamber. I can even run a tier 13 Channy map. I can even run a tier 12 Coves. I can run a tier 11 Colonnady. I can run a tier 10 Coves. It does not matter after the color has spawned inside the region what map you run, as long as it's part of that region. Okay, it does not matter. 1 through 16, right? So that's an important note. So here's what I've been doing. Okay, you can also run and also the rule is that you don't have to spawn all 4 tiles at once. You can use, if you have a lot of maps in one region, you can run, let's take Glenach Cairns again for an example. You can run the natural maps first to get let's say Veritania, blue, right? Blue procs. You keep running the white maps in there until you spawn Veritania again, okay? And again, and that's 3. You need to spawn her 3 times to get the fight. Right? You'll talk to Kirak. You'll go over. You'll talk to Zaba, and she'll allow you to open the Citadel. Right? You know how this works, basically. You can kill Veritania, and then after the blue disappears, you can go for another conqueror. You can go for Al-Azim. You can go for Drox. You can go for Baran. Right? You can spawn them all in one zone. But what I like to do personally is I like to spawn all 4. I just like it better. Okay. And another reason for that is I will do this. So imagine that you were sorting your stash, and this is something I'm going to do tonight. I haven't done it yet, but the way to do it is it helps if you have these tabs. So I'll take Tyrn's End, right? I don't have any here actually, but let's just go over here. Do I have any here? Let's say I take like a Tyrn's End, right? And then I would have like maybe like 4 or 5 Tyrn's Ends, because that's like on average that you get that, you'll probably get all 4 colors, 4 or 5 each. I'll take like 4 or 5 Valdos, take 4 or 5 Proximas, right? 4 or 5 Proximas, maybe some Glenach Cairns, right? You see how like I have them named. Then I would focus down 4 zones, okay? And the reason I've split them up into these tabs is because these are the inner ones, right? And then these are the outer ones. It doesn't matter. You could do like half and half side, but it is important to get 4 or 5 of the natural tiers, right, to run of each zone you want to target. In my testing, 4 or 5 maps in each zone is more than enough to get the initial spawn. And right after you get the initial spawn, so let's just say I have colors on this inner tile right here. Once again, you'll see it on the sides of the video. I have the colors. Then what you do is you go here. Now I have sorted, you see this? I've sorted my white and yellow maps into these things. So now I have 8 more. So these 4 are like the inner ones. These 4 from Helm to Vestir, these are the outer ones. So it's color coded so I can easily know where I'm pulling the maps from. So once again, to recap, I am procking the reds, right, to get the colors on the inside or on any 4 regions. And then I look at the names of those regions once I have 4 colors. And I am going to go to those regions. So if I did the inside, I do these, right? And then here's what I do. I just start grabbing random maps, maybe 4 or 5, right? Grab random maps, 4 or 5, doesn't really matter, okay? And then here, grab 4 or 5, here, grab 4 or 5, just put them in your inventory. And then what you're going to do after this is you are only testing the maps for the Conqueror spawn, right? Because if you have 4 tiles of colors, it means you have spawned them all at least once. So you need to proc each Conqueror 2 more times to get the fight. And an important note, you can save up the fights. For example, let's say you proc Drox in this zone, Glenach Cairns, and now you have the fight ready. Kirak tells you where he has spawned. You talk to Zaba. There's a mission that says travel to Drox's Citadel. You don't have to go there right away. She'll save that option along with all the other 3. So you can have 4 dialogue options, travel to Drox, Veritania, Baran, and Al-Azim's Citadels. You can have them all the same. You don't have to do it right away when you get it. That's very important because, you know, it's like efficiency, right? So you will take your white maps, you see, and then you will spam the white maps. And here's how you do it. what you would do is you would open up the white map, okay? Go in, kill. In my testing, it's like 60 to 100 monsters about. I use Rampage gloves as a swap when I'm kind of doing this very fast, and I track the monsters, right? If I don't get the proc, like the big Nova explosion of the color of the Conquer, whichever one it is, I leave the map immediately, right? And once it'll help you just watch the videos on the side of the screen. But you go in, kill up to 100 mobs, no proc, leave. Even if it procs, you leave. You are not rolling these maps. You do them white. It doesn't matter because you're basically burning the maps to get the proc. And so you go in. If it doesn't spawn in 100, you leave. If it does spawn, you leave immediately right when you see the Nova, okay? And you're gonna do that, you need to do it twice for every region that you proc it in. And then after that, you'll have all 4 fights. You'll do all 4 fights, obviously, kill them, and then you will kill Cyrus, and you'll do it all over again. I know there's other ways to do this. For example, like I was mentioning before, you see how, what do I have a lot of, right? So for example, let's say I have a ton of Glenak cairns. So I only want to run this. And once again, it'd be the same exact thing. A natural map, for example, you see this channel is tier 15. Okay, you see how the tier 15 Channy is here. You have to run the natural tier of this map, all right, until you get the first color to fill in. After that, you go to your white maps, okay? And you could actually do that, once again, over and over in one zone to proc 4 masters in a row in one zone. You can't have like 4 colors at once in the same zone. It's one at a time, right? Spawn initial conquer with a natural red map, the color, once the color appears, spam white, yellow, or really shitty red ones, like unroll, just spam it, check 100 monsters to see the proc, leave until you get the fight, kill the conquer, do it all over again with the next conquer, right? That's one method. But I'm telling you, I think that grabbing one of each of these, okay, of 4 zones is better because you're gonna spawn 4, it's gonna be easier to keep track of. You're gonna spawn 4 colors, you're gonna grab all the maps of those 4 zones and just spam them down the line. There is something to be said about patch notes where it said that it was like a little bit more deterministic if you run different maps. So here's some rules that I abide by, that they might be tinfoil hat, they might be grounded in some of the things we learned from the patch notes, okay? Take this with a grain of salt because nobody knows how it actually works. There are people that will tell you to reset your hideout. If you're at Awakening 8, do not reset your hideout. It doesn't work. It's like this tinfoil thing that does not work, trust me. Okay, your Atlas isn't bugged. It's just sometimes you get really unlucky. And I've gotten really unlucky before, but I tell you it's not bugged. I've never reset my hideout. So here's some rules to abide by. Never run the same map twice in a row, okay? Never. That means, let's say that I am trying to proc Tierns End and Glenak, right? And then so I run Tierns End and I run a Iceberg and it procs Drox. Do not, under any circumstances, run an Iceberg again, okay? Even if it's a lower tier, right? I mean, you can run the regular or lower tier, it doesn't matter. Any tier matters. After the first initial spawn, any tier is viable. But the reason you don't do this, because it just feels like, in my testing, that running the same map back to back is a much less chance of spawn. It is much better for you to bounce between 2 if you have to, right? This is tinfoil hat kind of as well, but if you do multiple variety maps in the zone, it seems to spawn in faster, but we don't know about that. That's just like, but definitely just bounce between 2 if you have to. Never run the same one. Doesn't matter if you bounce between 2, 3, 4, 5, because you might be limited in your maps. Okay, and that is that is one rule. Okay. Also, sometimes when you feel that you're getting unlucky, like you just cannot spawn this last guy or something, taking a lot of maps, right? Don't give up hope. I know it feels bad. You start to like question things. Just the best thing you can do is to put in the next map that you would have put in, even if you weren't discouraged, even if you were doing this at the start. Put another map, run that map, get the proc, get the influences, okay? If you want to do the speed running. And another thing is you have to think about all of the maps you do not enjoy. This league, you have hundreds and hundreds, like over 1,000 maps right now that I have that I can't get rid of. So burning even the reds is fine, right? Remember, natural one first, but then after that, you can do anything. You can do the natural or the other one. So if you look in your map tab and you want to burn map, let's say there's a map you don't want to run from like 11 through 13 as your burners after you proc the color. Like I don't like, what do I not like? I don't like, let's say maze, right? I don't like vault. Don't be afraid to burn your red maps. I'm telling you, on Awakener 8, if you get your bonuses up, you are gonna have so many maps. Okay, look at this. Like, do you think that you can ever get rid of these dump tab maps? Ever? You will never be able to run all these. Okay, because when you do run all these, you're gonna have like 4 times as many as are in here. At least 4 times as many. Okay, so look at this. Like come on. You can't. So do not be afraid to even burn the yellows that you love or the reds that like are kind of iffy. Okay, to get out of this mindset that maps are worth anything. Okay, if you want to do this method. So that is the that's the method right there. I know it's kind of confusing, and I'll be doing it again on stream tomorrow, but it's really fun. The jamble of like proccing the Cyrus in less than 30 minutes, getting the kills, right? Because it's not just Cyrus. In 30 minutes, you're getting 4 Conquers, which is 4 chances at the Conqueror Exalted Orbs, Awakened Support Gems, and then the Cyrus fight for the sword, the Awakened, multi-strike, that's big, cast on crit, all that stuff. And then of course, the Awakener's Orb, which is almost 2 Exalts, I think, right now. And it's like probably a 20-30% drop chance. So it is actually a lot more fun than I thought. I'm like excited to do it again, okay? The name of the game is speed, okay? You gotta do it really, really speedy. So that's all I want to say about it. You can see the videos. Less than 30-minute runs. When I started, I had no idea what I was doing. With a little bit of organization, I think it's gonna be pretty good. I don't want to talk about the efficiency stuff because like I'm going to be doing weird stuff and sorting my tabs in the map so that I can pull. So I never do like one map in a zone, like one map in one zone, then one map in another zone. I'll be like switching zones even to get more deterministic with my Conquer Swans. I'll be trying to go faster. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. So you can take it as you will. It's pretty good. I'd say Cyrus farming is going to be less and less worth it. Pure Conquer and Cyrus farming is going to be less and less worth it as time goes on. But for now, try it out. You might like it. If you have questions, I stream every day on Twitch, twitch.tv/qdog_. You can ask me questions there. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you guys. Bye.